One of the biggest questions I get from folks that I coach and even just the keynotes and all these conversations is, do I need a website? I want to spin up, as we say in Silicon Valley, I want to spin up a new business. I want to create some new stuff. Do I need a website for it? This is an intense question because it's a really simple answer. Yes, you absolutely need a website. My website is damonbrown.net. If you go to damonbrown.net, you'll learn everything about me. And you'll see links to my Amazon page. You'll see links to my Twitter feed, which I'm not on as much, but some of my social media. You'll see links to my products. You'll see links to this show. If you want a meta experience, not meta the company, but meta as far as what the name actually means, something talking about referring to itself, go to damebrown.net. If you go to the middle, you'll see this YouTube channel embedded in the website. Why do I do that? I do that because if you're going to start a business, particularly in this century, I'll be that bold, you need to own your pipeline. You need to own your stuff. So many people have had businesses, particularly right before the pandemic. I was seeing this a lot. Right, connect with people, coach people, get them on their way, or we just have a conversation. We're both having a drink, and they find out I'm a coach, and I ask them about their business, and they go and break it down. And I'm like, yeah, what's your website? And they're like, oh, my website is facebook.com/blah blah blah. No, that's not your website. No, you're renting. You're renting. That's like saying, yeah, I own a house. What's your house? Oh, it's apartment 3B. No, you don't own that. No shots at apartment renters. I've been a long time apartment renter, so no judgment on that. But you know the difference between living in an apartment and owning the house and or land that you're living in. Those are two different places. Not even a class issue, just pure ownership. I've had landlords say, hey, we're about to raise the rent a lot. I've had landlords say, hey, you know what? We're about to sell the building. I don't know what the new owner's going to do. Hopefully you still have a place to stay, homie. Good luck. That's your Facebook, right? That's your Twitter. That's even your LinkedIn's. That's definitely your Instagrams. That sure as heck is your TikToks. TikToks might even not even be around by the time you're watching the replay of this here in America. Let's talk about it. Excuse me, got me all excited over here. Because you don't own that land. So you're telling me you're going to build up a business. Suddenly I got an accent coming out. Suddenly you're going to build up a business. You're going to put all this energy, sweat equity, time, resources, and all that, and you're going to build on somebody else's land? No. So you need some type of place that you own that is yours. Now we can get into the details as far as creating a website and all that stuff, but it doesn't matter. You need to have something. Even if it's something, and some of my coaching clients have this, something as simple as it's, janedoe.com. They go there and it's links to all your other stuff. Fine. Do you own that? Do you own the URL, which is the literal website address, the web address? Do you own that? Right? Can Mark Zuckerberg or Elon Musk, I'm calling out names today, can any one of those fellas, they're all guys, have a bad day and decide to kick you off or take half your content down? Right? Think about where you can actually build something that's going to last. My businesses that I've created now to the point where they've been around for decades, some of them, I built them and then they were sold a year later. Like they got acquired. How can things be acquired? How can things be sold? How can you be a founder and create good stuff when you don't own the land that it's on? That makes it a little bit hard. And if any of those guys, and I do mean guys, change the algorithm and don't tell you about it, Google and all those included, you're out of luck. My partnership with YouTube, that's a decision because I can't quite own my own television network at this point. But if I could, you darn Skippy, there will be a Bring Your Own television network. Stay tuned. That may happen in the near future when the technology catches up. But be sure as far as what partnerships you have, what you're building your stuff on, and what stuff you actually own. Those are two separate things. Even though this show is actually on YouTube, I own intellectual property. It's part of the YouTube thing. And so I still own the show and I can do whatever I want with the show. In fact, I've taken some of these episodes and done other things with them. So figure out what you're signing up for. The bottom line is that you absolutely need a website. Let me give some samples as far as websites, things that will help you on your way. One example, which I use regularly, is Strikingly. That's my code right there. I think you'll get a good discount. If I remember correctly, but I haven't used the code in a while. But use that link, you'll get a discount. It's actually an affiliate link, so I get a little bit of that too. But we both end up winning with that if you want to rock with that. If you don't, that's fine. Just do strikingly.com. You can learn about it. Strikingly is really cool because it is plug and play, drop and drag. So I used to be a tech guy, like what we used the tech terms we used to use back in the 90s and the early aughts. In other words, it's really simple. What you see is what you get with Zwick. So you can drop things, it's all that stuff. What I love about Strikingly, and I've been with them for probably about 5-6 years. What I love about it is that it's very multimedia friendly. Because when I first started, I actually had a shout out to Andrew Cam. It was good connecting with you a year or two ago when we were connected. But he was my first web designer. He hooked me up. He organized it. This is back 15, 20 years ago when I really started to get serious about me starting my journalism career, which is where I began. And then he moved on to other pastures. Again, hope you're doing well, Andy. And I ended up being on my own. I'm like, all right, I don't want to, like, I knew HTML, but I'm like, I want to write. Like, I don't want to program the website. And so I ended up learning about Strikingly, again, probably about 5 or 6 years ago. And essentially, it's simple enough for me to be my own web manager / designer. And what started happening was that the content I was doing, and give a shout in the comments if you can relate to this, it started getting really multimedia. In other words, it was simple when I was a regular writer for Playboy, the New York Post, and them. Because like, okay, well, I'll do a link to the article, or I'll make a scan. This was before you had smartphones. I'll make a scan or a copy of the article and then put it into the computer, put it into a PDF, and then make it downloadable. Like, that was the extent of the multimedia. Then I started doing startups. So it's like, oh, I'm doing this. Then I started doing keynotes. It's like, well, I want to have video on there, which got me involved with YouTube in the early days. So it's like, well, then I want to have a video on the my main website, damonbrown.net, not over here in some ancillary thing, and on and on and on from there. And I think that's what made it easy for me to get involved with Strikingly, because I'll give some other examples, which are highly recommended. You're familiar with some of them probably. But Strikingly works really well for me because it handles all kinds of media. I even have my quiz built on my book from a couple of years ago, Built From Now. Forgive me, I have a copy somewhere around here. Thanks to all of y'all that supported. But there's a quiz at builtfromnowquiz.com. Free quiz, super simple. It tells you your biggest strengths based on the 4 criteria that I've found work well for entrepreneurs based on my time as a coach. That quiz is actually built into the website at damebrown.net. So you can go to the quiz directly, but you can also take it within my website. All that multimedia stuff you can do with Strikingly. I highly recommend it. I mentioned them on the previous episode because you can also pay way, way, way in advance. So they have these specials. I think they might have just done a special, so we might have just missed it. But they do these biannual specials, so like 2-3 times a year. And they'll say it'll be 30% off if you buy a yearly plan or longer. They're not kidding with longer. Like, you can get a plan for like the next 5 years. 10 years might be on there, but it's definitely 5 years. So then you don't have to worry about it. As I talked about in my recent episode about what to do with a financial windfall, one of the best things you do with a financial windfall is actually put that money towards your systems. Because if you're independent, if you're a side hustler, if you're a solopreneur, if you're doing independent stuff just like I am, then that's kind of the nature of the beast. The money tends to go up and down because you're investing in certain things are moving in a different direction, et cetera, et cetera. What you want to do is when your money's up, you want to build the foundation so that you don't need to scramble for money or have your systems break down when you do not have the money. Strikingly is part of that plan for me. Let me give some other popular examples. Wix is very, very popular. I know a few of y'all out there in the audience rock with them. Wix is, again, very much a plug and play. I don't know how multimedia friendly they are. I know Strikingly is very multimedia friendly. I think Wix is pretty good though. So that's another example. Shout out to Wix. Last example, Squarespace. You've probably seen their ads around. I know they tend to lean a little bit more towards multimedia from what I've seen. They also, a lot of people I know that have storefronts use Squarespace more so than Wix. So if you're selling like, I don't know, like Bring Your Worth t-shirt, sorry, it's in the mirror right here. You can actually get them at damonbrown.net, etc. If you're doing stuff like that, if you're having storefronts, that's a good place to be. Strikingly also has an excellent storefront setup that's lesser known. If you go to my website, again, at damonbrown.net, you will see Strikingly in action. All right, let's take a step back and